Well, hello again, and welcome to another flight. We're going to be flying in X-Plane 11, public beta 15. We're going to be flying the stock 737-800. But this flight is going to be more to showcase the new SimBuddy.com, the SimBuddy Inflight Client, which is in beta. So keep in mind that we're dealing with 2 bits of software, both X-Plane 11 and the SimBuddy Client that are in beta. So not everything's done yet, and of course not everything works as it will in the final issue of the product. Okay, so we've got power to the jet right now, and we're setting up the FMC. We're going to be flying from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina to Atlanta. It's a relatively short flight, just about an hour long, but it'll be a good way to kind of show you what goes on with the SimBuddy in-flight. So let's get ready, and we'll get everything going here and get in the air fairly quickly. And as you can see, we're going through and setting up our approach and arrival. We will be arriving on runway 27. Ran into an issue since the public beta 15 was dropped, where with this particular aircraft, for some reason, and it showed itself in this flight, the nose wheel steering was not working, and I actually had to steer the aircraft on the ground using my throttles, which was always fun. It also made it very ugly, and so most of it disappeared in editing. Just checking our track of the flight plan to make sure that everything is just the way it's supposed to, and that we don't have any odd directional changes that shouldn't be there, or that we double back on things, which I have been known to do setting up my FMC. But in this case, everything's looking good. So okay. And at this location, well, we're checking our fuel here because we had entirely more fuel than we need. We only need about 6,300 kilograms of fuel, according to my SimBuddy flight plan. So we'll adjust that and get it set up. And we're back, ready to go. Our fuel should be listed and in good shape. But as I was saying, there is no pushback at this particular spot on the ramp. So that's always fun. And we're going to be flying, as you can see quickly there on our autopilot. We're going to be flying at about 10,000 feet. With our top speed around 290 knots. Okay, overhead, and we get all our switches in the proper location so we can get ready for engine start. Because I actually had to use the reversers to back up the jet so we could proceed on our way. There, we got the APUs running. We got the air bleed going. Get some lights on here. Okay, so we've got that going, and there is the SimBuddy in-flight client. And right now, we are loading our passengers. And you can see by the little bar on the bottom left of the in-flight client, it shows you that the passengers were loading. Now, with those on the right section,
Captain,
it gives us
all
indication.
Passengers are on board.
Very good. Gives you, as you go through the bars, it gives you my score.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard.
And this is
If
the
you haven't
welcome.
already done so, please stow your carry-on luggage underneath the seat in front of you or in an overhead bin. Please take your seat and fasten your seat belt. And also make sure your seat back and folding trays are in their full upright position. If you are seated next to an emergency exit, please read carefully the special instructions card located by your seat. We remind you that this is a non-smoking flight. Smoking is prohibited on the entire aircraft, including the lavatories. Tampering with, disabling or destroying the lavatory smoke detectors is prohibited by law. If you have any questions about our flight today, please don't hesitate to ask one of our flight attendants. Thank you.
And thank you. All right, and then it gives the flight attendants, it gives their health, and it also gives the passengers' health, and whether or not they're available, what they're doing at the time. You can see that the passengers, I've got them seated, which means that they're also, while they're seated, they have their seatbelts on for safety reasons.
Flight attendants, doors to automatic and cross-check.
Sorry, no push carts here at this ramp.
And that's when I realized that pretty much my only option was to use reversers.
Captain, doors are set to automatic and cross-checked.
To back up so we could not run through the building.
Flight attendants, seats for takeoff.
Okay, so we're going to have everybody buckled in for safety. And we'll get the engine started and be on our way. But the other graph you see there in that is it gives the passengers happiness, thirst, hunger, and boredom. And as the further to the right green that they are, the more that bar is filled, the better things are. And also shows that in this flight, if you look at the attendance list, it gives the fact of how many times I have to provide food, how many times I have to provide drinks, and how many times I should do in-flight entertainment, which primarily in this case is showing a movie. And in this flight, which is only an hour long, it says that I should have 2 in-flight entertainments. Going to be real short subjects. But then I have to serve food, and then I have to serve drinks. So that could be interesting. And here we go backing up, and I'm using the engine reversers to do it. But every time I try to turn, because I wanted the nose of the aircraft to go to the left, You see how I'm not applying brakes. That is the nose wheel turning, either not working or there's so much friction that it won't move. So here we are on the runway getting ready to take off because of all the horrible things that went on with trying to steer the airplane with engines. And a nose wheel didn't work, so you actually were sliding the nose to the left or right. It went great in a straight line, but it took so much engine power to do it. It was just awful. So that's something that I'm going to have to figure out, or maybe something that an issue that Laminar Research may have to figure out for X-Plane 11.
Flight attendants, you can resume your duties. Flight attendants, prepare the cabin for takeoff.
And we'll double check everything here while they do that. We've got our flaps set for takeoff. We've got our...
Captain, the cabin is secure.
We've got our auto braking turned off, so we don't have an issue there.
Flight attendants, seats for takeoff.
Okay, we've got them back in there situated, and the aircraft is configured and ready for flight. Excuse me, got my froggies busy this morning. Yeah, well, get some power and release the brakes, and we're moving. And we're not moving again. This flight was anything but normal, at least at the beginning and the end when we landed. All right, here we go. Let's get out of here. And airspeed's alive. And rotate. Positive rate, gear up. Flaps up. Okay. Autopilot on. And we'll make a nice sweeping turn here to get on our nav track. And I'll make an adjustment here in a minute to set our bank angle maximum at about 10 degrees. That way when we're flying and the passengers and attendants are up and moving around in the cabin, excuse me, as they move around the cabin and we make a turn or so on, it limits the possibility for them being injured. So
Flight attendants, you can resume your duties.
Yeah, that means they're no longer seat belted in, and they're up, starting to move around the cabin.
We have started serving food. Captain, we have started the in-flight entertainment.
This being a short flight, we're going to be moving as fast as we can. Now, it does take time, and that's as you watch the attendants, the flight attendants bar, you'll see it'll very slowly move up as they're serving food. It's a little quicker than when they're serving drinks. And then, of course, the entertainment. So, but you can see that the passengers bars, and they're up now, no longer need their seat belts, and they're up moving around the cabin. But you can see how the happiness bars and thirst and hunger and boredom have made some changes. So the boredom bar is affected mostly by in-flight entertainment. The hunger, thirst speak for themselves, and happiness, the more you feed them, the more you serve them drinks. I guess that affects that. The better you fly the aircraft, affects that, so you're not scaring them. You can see that I've got at the very bottom there, it has worried and scared. Well, nobody's worried, but apparently 2 of the passengers are scared. And we're carrying over 100 passengers on this flight. Now keep in mind, this the SimBuddy in-flight is in beta, and so these things and what affects them and how it affects them and how big the percentages are and so on, that's all being worked on. And the gentleman who is building this program has been very open to suggestions, and we've had some discussions with him on Discord and so on, and he's been very helpful, and actually likes getting feedback. So as you watch this video, if you have any ideas or things you'd like me to pass on, feel free to add them in the comments, and we'll pass that on to him. Or you can go to SimBuddy.com, and there's a way there to put in comments and give him things that you like, maybe don't like, or things you might like to see in a program like the SimBuddy in-flight. Again, I'm doing this video, 1, because I just thoroughly enjoy flying simulations, 2, because it's fun, and 3, to kind of show, give you an idea of what this SimBuddy in-flight that I've done a couple videos on is all about, and how it adds another dimension to our sim flying. Now while I'm flying, instead of having these long boring sections, I've got to monitor something else besides my flight systems, and actually I'm running a virtual airline, so I've got to, in order to help that airline, try to keep my passengers as happy as possible. So, the best advertising is word of mouth. And if I keep my passengers happy, well fed, boozed up, the better things can be. Now, on longer flights, of course, you got to kind of pay attention to when you're going to serve drinks and when you're going to serve food, because it says drinks. I have 1 service of that. Well, that means once those drinks are served, I can't serve a second round of drinks. I've used up what's available on the airplane. And the same thing with food. If I've got one food service, if I were to try to serve a second food service, there wouldn't be any food available. Once I've served the food, the aircraft that's all that's available. So we're cruising right along at 290 knots at 10,000 feet. And everything's looking good, and you can see here our attendants are doing their jobs nicely. Food is moving right along. The flight entertainment is going well, which, by the way, the in-flight movie today is Airport 77. That should instill plenty of confidence in it, and it could be why maybe there's 2 passengers scared. I don't know.
Captain, we have finished serving food.
Yeah, very good. We'll wait just a few minutes, a couple minutes here, and then we'll serve drinks. And look there's white clouds. That's one thing I did notice when XP11 Public Beta 15 dropped, that there had been a huge improvement in the clouds. So as stock clouds go, these are not bad at all. At least they're pleasant to look at, and they don't look like oil fire smoke. So good to see my white fluffy clouds. And we're starting our descent. Like I said, this is a short flight. So we're on our way from 10,000 to 2,500. And when the attendants serve food or drink, what you'll see on the bar is it'll go full green, showing they've served the food. But they don't declare that they're finished serving food until it goes back full white, showing that they served the food and they also cleaned up. So once they've served the food, collected all the trash and so on, then they declare that they have finished serving the drinks or the food. And there's our Air America Do X 737-800. And she's flying along very nicely today. No complaints, other than the nose wheel steering. Yeah, it won't be long now. We'll be making a turn towards...
Captain, the in-flight entertainment has ended.
Atlanta?
Captain, we have started the in-flight entertainment.
Which they'll never get to see the whole movie, so... In reality, they wouldn't have had time to see the first movie. I've flown on short regional jets, and there's... Well, most of them you're lucky if you get, on these short flights like this, get a drink and a bag of peanuts.
Captain, we have finished serving refreshments.
Okay, very good. So it won't be long now. We'll be getting the passengers seatbelted back in their seats and get ready for our approach and landing.
Flight attendants, prepare the cabin for landing.
There we go. And you can see we've got our passengers already seatbelted in. And it looks like pretty much almost half our people are hungry again. Crikey, it's only a 1 hour and 15-minute flight, people. And we fed you. How hungry can you get?
Captain, the cabin is secure.
Flight attendants, seats for landing.
So we've got everybody strapped in and everything, so all the people on board should be safe. Yeah, our aircraft is slowing down nicely, so we'll be able to. And there's our runways. So we're looking good. Get her slowed down. Yeah, I'll give it a one stage of speed brake. Slow it down a little bit more. We got our gear down. Flaps are coming down to configuration. And we're going to be a little long. Big time crosswinds. She did not want to settle. And we're down. Put the reversers and get her stopped. Oh no, not too bad. That crosswind really hit me hard there. Now the fun part is trying to get it off the runway using just throttles. This is not going to be pretty. But passengers are all safe, attendants are all safe. So you can see me trying to use the throttles and slide that nose. Yeah, okay, we got to cross this runway, which is and then make this right turn. See, going in a straight line is no problem. It's trying to turn it using throttles, which is just horrible. Okay. And we'll pull up to the gate here and get stopped. Nothing smooth about it, because again, I'm using throttles. And we'll just get forward here
Flight
and get it
attendants,
stopped.
you can resume your duties.
Yeah. So stop here, get the APU on so we have power to the aircraft, shut down the engines, and get our passengers offloaded here.
Flight attendants, doors to manual.
Captain, doors are set to manual.
Okay. So, let's packs get up and move off, and you'll see at the far left there on the SimBuddy in-flight, the passenger green bar will slowly turn white as they offload from the aircraft. And that actually takes a little bit of time, so we'll kind of skip ahead here so we don't have to wait for the whole thing. Okay, passengers are offloaded. That means that we can end the flight and get the information back at SimBuddy.com. And this is it. This is our details page for my virtual airline and this particular flight. Shows you my track and shows that my overall rating was 78%, which isn't too bad. It shows two fails. One having to do with the music, which I played the whole time. Maybe that's not a good idea. And the welcoming of the passengers. I did play the welcoming of the passengers, but again, maybe I did it at the wrong time or in the wrong sequence. In any case, I made a little over $43,000 on the flight after you deduct my fuel cost and other things like that. And there you have it. SimBuddy.com's new SimBuddy in-flight for virtual airlines. You can develop your own virtual airline and take part. Again, it's in beta. It's got some growing pains, but I think it's an excellent addition to our flight simulation world, and I've had fun with it, and I'm going to continue to use it. So, thanks for watching. Hope this gives you an idea about SimBuddy in flight, and until next time, safe flying.